code red. I'm talking about an elementary and secondary education system which is in full catastrophic collapse.
If you give your attention to the certain students who are struggling, I'm failing somebody else right now.
19% of graduates can't read.
It's a scandal. It's not acceptable.
Billions of dollars are being spent to educate kids that aren't getting educated.
We have a system that's dysfunctional to borderlines under corrupt.
This is a national emergency. Well, America, today I am delivering a code red. You know me, and you know I am not one to yell fire in a crowded theater. You're about to learn the truth about a genuine, ongoing national emergency. I believe the single greatest threat to the American way of life and our standing on the world stage. You will likely think, why is no one else shouting about this from the rooftops? In fact, why is anyone talking about anything else? I'm talking about America's public education system. If you were expecting something more dramatic like spies in our midst, hang on to your hat. I'm talking about an elementary and secondary education system which is in full catastrophic collapse. Not coming soon, right now. Once the envy of the world, our schools are failing at every level. Now, you're out of school, so why should you care? You should care because it's the root cause of homelessness, crime, incarceration, drug addiction, poverty, and family disintegration. The empirical evidence is very clear. I'm stating absolute fact, yet no one, not even our leaders, is seriously addressing the silent rot that's eating away at the very foundation of our country. Let this sink in. The United States, once the leader across the board, now ranks 36th in literacy globally. That means 35 countries rank above us. Why should you care if others can't read? Well, consider this. 70% of prison inmates cannot read above a 4th grade level. 85% of juveniles in the court system are illiterate. 43% of adults with the lowest levels of literacy live in poverty. 75% of welfare recipients struggle with even basic literacy. Our education system is imploding right now. It's getting worse, not better. 1 in 4 children can't read at even the basic level. Math scores have plummeted to historic lows. Almost 320,000 teaching positions sit vacant or are filled with uncertified teachers, with just 12% of all teachers saying they're satisfied with their jobs and almost half planning to quit soon. And if all that isn't enough, in Arizona, they've had to recruit parents to babysit teacherless classrooms. All of this adds up to an entire generation of American children left behind, while nations like Singapore and China surge ahead. And here's the most infuriating part. We're spending nearly $20,000 per student annually, more than almost any other nation. Yet we're watching our children's future, America's future, slip away. A nation that fails to educate its citizens cannot thrive, cannot lead, and will not endure. And hear me, this problem is not with the teachers themselves. Teachers, by and large, are dedicated and caring men and women who certainly are not in it for the money. So what is the problem? Well, tonight, we're not just exposing a crisis. I believe we're confronting the very issue that will determine whether America rises or falls. The clock isn't ticking, it's running out. And our leaders on this are in a race to the bottom. I intend this to be a wake-up call. Now, Samantha was a teacher, something she says ran in her blood, but today she says she will never step foot in a classroom again.
I always wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher, my grandma, my uncle, but I will never go back. I don't ever want to be a teacher again. I started teaching in 2016. I was ecstatic to get my own classroom. The second year and third year, I felt like I wasn't able to support all of my students. I would get students who would come to me in first grade who didn't know their letters, who didn't know their numbers. I felt leaving deflated every single day. Like, did anything get accomplished? Did anybody learn anything? And I truly believe that there are very few people who are making decisions right now with the children first. So then fourth year was COVID. And that's when it all, I would say, just went so south. I was at my all-time low, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I needed anything to get me feeling good. So I started sharing my workouts online, and that was when my principal called me in, and she was like, I just wanted you to see this. It was an email that a parent had sent that stated my social media was inappropriate. The principal told me that it was serious enough, since it was put in writing, she had to go to HR. HR put a formal letter together, and then there was a letter in my file that said, due to inappropriate activity. The thought of having something in your file that says due to inappropriate activity, I could barely get myself out of bed. So I quit teaching. I would get into my car every day and fight back tears. I can remember sitting in my car feeling like I failed the students, just feeling like I failed.
How does it make you feel knowing that you'll never teach children again? Because that was something you really wanted.
It's all I ever wanted, to be a teacher. It's like there was no plan B. The thought to know that I'll never step foot in a classroom again is the most freeing feeling in the whole world. Although teaching is my passion, it runs in my blood. I love the students. I will miss them, I miss the relationships, but knowing I don't have to be in the classroom, it's like 1,000,000 pounds off my chest.
Because you say the environment was toxic. What made it so toxic?
The toxicity came from unrealistic expectations that teachers are supposed to be there an hour and a half before contract hours. We're supposed to get it all done. And the toxicity of just truly having to do everything. And if you didn't complete it, it's as if you failed.
I said we are in a national emergency. Do you agree with that?
I do. I use my social media to help teachers feel good in their skin. I talk to teachers all day, every day for the last 2 years, and I have never spoken to a happy teacher. They all went out. They all feel stuck. We're just not happy.
Well, someone with the same education that you have in any other profession makes about 25% more than teachers make. We're not paying teachers enough. Teachers are now asked to do things that you shouldn't be asked to do. And it seems to me that what's happening across the board nationally is we're lowering standards to keep kids progressing to the next grade. So you're getting children into your grade that weren't prepared in the grade before for a myriad of reasons. How do you keep them up?
I think this is the hardest part, right? As teachers, first of all, we don't go into education for the money. We all know teachers are underpaid, right? Like, I never went into teaching for the money. And quite honestly, I don't even feel like that's the issue. Yes, of course, it would be lovely to get paid more, and we need more respect for our teachers and more resources. But at the end of the day, it's the unrealistic expectations that we are doing more than just meeting students' academic needs. I was teaching first grade at the time, and I was being expected to teach these kids who had no letter recognition. They were supposed to be fluent readers by the end of first grade. I mean, there's just no time in the day, right? So you feel like if you give your attention to the certain students who are struggling, then maybe those kiddos who are on grade level or maybe a little above aren't getting what they need. So whether you're giving your attention to who you feel is best at that moment, you also in the back of your head know, I'm failing somebody else right now. Like, I just don't have enough time to meet everybody's needs.
When the pandemic hit, it exposed what was really happening at their children's school. These parents we're about to meet were so shocked that they decided to take drastic action. We're going to find out what it was after the break. Did you know that high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for mortality? 1 in 2 adults has it. That's a 50-50 chance you are a walking time bomb. But here's the good news. You can take control of your blood pressure naturally without relying on Big Pharma. 120 Life combines delicious super fruit juices proven to help lower blood pressure. Backed by hundreds of doctors and trusted by thousands with real results, it's a solution you can rely on. The best part? It's risk-free. Try it for 2 weeks. If your numbers don't improve, you get your money back. Lower blood pressure or your money back. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com and use code PHIL, P-H-I-L, to save 15% and get free shipping. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about. 120 Life can help. Let's be honest. We're not getting any younger, and if you want to look and feel your best, check out Pure Health Research. With 45 premium health supplements targeting every health goal, boosting energy, trimming belly fat, supporting blood sugar, increasing testosterone, or reducing leg swelling, Pure Health has you covered. Each formula features natural, non-GMO ingredients backed by clinical research and manufactured in the USA. Here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. Just go to purehealthresearch.com and use coupon code PHIL at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's zero risk in trying something new. So why wait? Head over to purehealthresearch.com now. Explore their 45 amazing supplements and save 35% before this deal ends with coupon code PHIL. Don't miss this chance to feel your best.
I think a lot more grace needs to be given to teachers. I think right now the things that teachers are being expected to do rather than focusing on students' academic needs are just checking boxes and being little robots and being an assembly line. They're not able to be fully present. We just feel like by Friday, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't touch me, don't need me. You know, the thing that I feel most compelled to share is that if things don't change, we will have no teachers.
The pandemic proved to be one of the biggest disasters ever for students, particularly those in public schools. Mark and Val's children were no exception, but instead of hindering their learning, it actually led to shocking but eye-opening truths and led to a new life for all of them.
When my son was in school, he was struggling, and towards the end of the pandemic, we were seeing that he was not doing well at all, and he was falling behind.
The pandemic happened, and they basically sent all the kids home with tablets. And in essence, we were basically homeschooling the kids ourselves. So you're sitting there watching what these teachers are doing, and the kids don't actually learn anything. Our daughter was not being challenged. Our son was way behind, and nobody seemed to be figuring out what to do.
The school system definitely wants a one-size-fits-all for all kids, and that's not how, every child is learning at their own pace. When we had to homeschool our kids, at first it was temporary, and then we thought, oh man, this is so awesome. We are seeing our kids thrive, and we are loving it. We're able to travel around America and see all these national monuments, go to museums. And it was just something that sparked our interest that we don't want to give this up, and we want to continue doing this.
You got some shocks in this situation. Nobody told you, for example, that your son was not reading to his grade level, right?
Correct.
How'd the light bulbs start coming on?
I would say during the pandemic, we really started to see what was happening. And our son was falling really behind. He wasn't reading, he wasn't writing well. And so that was truly eye-opening. We were sent home with tablets. As parents, we had to sit there and basically teach our kids ourselves. And we saw the downfalls of where our son was.
And what grade?
At that particular time?
Second grade.
And you say he was behind in math and reading both, right?
Yes. We knew he was a special kid, so
he can't learn from memorization. He can't sit behind a book, sit behind a screen. He's very, very hands-on, and that's what it seemed like he was never getting, and we only found out about that later on.
Did you find parents that didn't know where their kids were in terms of performance?
Absolutely. I think sometimes as teachers, we have those kids who we call bubble kiddos who aren't having gnarly behaviors in the classroom. They're not taking all of our attention. And it's sometimes hard to catch those kids because all of our attention is going to the kids who know nothing or a danger to others or themselves. So it's kids like your son who, as teachers, we feel like we're failing the most because our attention is going elsewhere.
There are 50 million kids in public school system. Think about this multiplied across so many millions of kids across the country. Do you think this is an emergency situation?
Absolutely.
Beyond measure, for sure.
30% of fourth graders, 30% of eighth graders cannot read at the most basic level. We're not even talking about math or science, we're just talking about reading. It's been said that in first, second, and third grade, you learn to read. From there on, you read to learn. So you spend the first 3 years learning, getting this tool, and then from there on, you use that tool to learn. So if you don't get it in those first 3 years, then you don't have that tool to gather knowledge with from that point on. And so you just start falling further behind and getting frustrated. And that's when they start acting out. That's why 85% of kids in the court system, in the juvenile centers, are barely literate. They got frustrated by the system, and so they pushed it away and started getting in trouble.
I mean, there were days I would get in my car and I was just glad everybody went home safe. Like, it just shifted from genuinely teaching the students academics to feeling like you're putting out fires all day long, whether it's redirecting a behavior, whether it's a parent email that has absolutely nothing to do with academics. They're asking you unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. How did it change self-esteem-wise and pride-wise once you started helping and doing what you did to fill that gap?
Well, at first, it was definitely a big challenge, and it does affect your self-esteem. After we found out what the issues were, we decided to, change a few things and use our resources at best. And it honestly made our kids feel so much more confident and freeing, and just, it felt so nice for them to finally feel like they're on track.
And what do you call what you're doing?
We call it world schooling. It's like homeschooling, but instead we're actually going to these places. We try to cover the basics, math, reading, writing. Those are the things that we definitely want to make sure that they're challenged completely on. But when it comes to social studies, history, science, we travel to destinations. For almost 4 years now, we go to wherever we're supposed to read about. And internationally, we're going to really like hot button areas where you had in Hawaii, where you had Pearl Harbor, you had Japan, you had where the South Korean War happened. We're going to these different areas to actually explore and learn about them.
Do you have any idea what that's costing a year?
Probably an arm and a leg.
It's worth it, though.
It's worth it.
Completely worth it.
Yeah, but not everybody can do that.
Correct.
That's what makes it hard. Okay, coming up, a former principal and current education consultant who says schools are being rewarded financially for graduating students, not for educating them. We're going to add him to the conversation next. Justin was a middle school teacher and then a principal who saw firsthand how schools were being pressured by administrators to pass students who didn't even show up. Now, as an education consultant, he's tackling the system from a different angle and is working to make sure students leave with the skills they need.
I think the main challenges that we face in education is we have students who need a lot more support than they're getting because they're far below grade level, they don't have the reading skills or the math skills, and that makes it difficult to teach at grade level. If you're a fourth grade teacher and you have students who are reading at a kindergarten or a first grade level, you can't teach kindergarten reading skills and teach fourth grade standards. So I think we need a massive investment in intervention services for students who are well below grade level. Districts have tried to get more students to graduate despite not increasing the number of students who are actually doing the work that it takes to learn. Like, you get credit for not turning in your assignments. You pass even if you don't show up to school, all in the name of getting a graduation rate up without really changing anything. Something is up if chronically truant students are graduating. I find it frustrating that policies make it difficult for students to fail even when they don't engage with the material. When school